Thank you very much, Katerina. Welcome everybody, welcome to my webinar. I'm broadcasting live from Mexico City. Today is Tuesday, January 24th, 2017. This is me, myself, Alberto Alvarado. This is my free YouTube channel, iiivb streaming room channel. You look it up in the in YouTube site. It's for free. You type in the search box this shows up. You click subscribe. Don't miss the fun there. It's getting activer, more and more active every time. So go there and subscribe if you haven't done so. I'm just reading up that Katerina just slept 4 hours. That's a bad habit. Although I remember when I was your age, I tended to even not sleep at all. And it's something that now in my life, my current life, I enjoy that very much. That is that I can sleep whatever the time I want. Although there are days that I don't sleep at all either. But hopefully you will have time to sleep in the weekend or even today. So I would like to thank everybody for being around, for showing up. I like a lot that I see more guests in the room. Hello to all of you. Rocastle too, thanks for coming by. No, I mean, it's my habit. It's a way of speaking. It's a bad habit. So, I believe it's time to start. Just quickly, my trader contest account is exactly the way it was yesterday. The difference is that my position is 2 places lower. The 20th position with the same 447 and extra in cash and change $1,000 in equity. This is me. This is the top 10 with equity cures. Now we have different places. We have this first one, the Indian S&P, Valtrad, Russian second, third, this one, San Wow. And the other that was in the third place is now here. I'm not following him, so I don't know why this equity curve is going lower. If I'm not wrong, this is Egyptian. Apparently it's not trading since before Donald Trump swearing in, and well, the rest are there. Again, I will be following very closely this thing and Dukascopy. These two, S&P and Pawans and Wall charts, they even look very alike now again. So yeah, I'm curious just to see what happens at the end, if both are legit different traders or not. Let me grab another snapshot here. Okay, I am opening my browser, so yeah, here it is. Same drawdown. This one, 54. Yeah, I was let me explain you this first. This is my month's profit and loss. It's $347,000, 347 profitability. Demo subscribers the same 9. This is my equity cure. Okay, so this was yesterday, and I'm not trading. I don't know if I'm going to be trading at all for the next days. These are the statistics, the same. Pip point gains 731. Average pip points gains in positive 87.53. As you see, this is more or less at 1.6 or something risk reward. Number of trades 31, average trade lifespan 24. Why? I don't know if Dukascopy calculates when you have your trades during the weekend as if there were market conditions to trade, or they pause the calculations and they just jump from Friday to Monday to continue measuring time. Because it jumped from, I believe, 21 hours to 23. The one explanation could be that these last two trades were open during the weekend. I don't know, but well, again, this is not really relevant. But the only thing that you have to check out is that this goes in harmony with these ones. Because if you keep 24-hour trades and you have your average pip point gain in 10 pips, that means that you most likely are floating in losses most part of the time, and you need to check that out. Remember that when you are designing and when you are trying to find your way in the trading industry, in the trading activity, you need to consider that putting even when you're in profit, having an open position means that you are in risk, potential risk of whatever scenario you want to figure out. So now that when you have 24 hours, your capital at risking having a huge drawdown, a huge movement against you, and you only make it worth for 10 pips, well, that's something you should check out, because the most likely thing is that the positive ones should be higher in any case that you close your positions. But if not, if you find here that you have 24 hours, here 10 pips, I believe that this is an average the closed positions. Yes, lost on negative. You could have even 0 here because you're just not simply wanting to close negative trades. This is very typical. I'm considering maybe talking trash about a person that I know that is not Dukascopy element. By the way, maybe I won't do that because my ethic compass won't allow me, but it's a good example because he's been trolling me in other blog. So I'm like kind of losing patience with this guy. But I'm just going to tell you one detail with this guy supposedly selling a service of managing money or trading signals, something like that. And just when you view the chart, the profit, the equity chart, how it behaves, is precisely this. There are some trades that he opens. He led the trades from 1 to 5 minutes to 12 hours just to graph up pips. So you see a consistent 45-degree winning streak. But at the moment the losses come, you see huge drawdowns. And when you go and analyze the data, you realize that's precisely this. This guy simply uses like a reward of 10 pips with a almost unlimited stop loss. So that is not useful in trading. I remember some years ago, I believe it was in a forum, somebody saying that was a way to trade, that was a way that professionals traded, grabbing 10 pips against maybe potential huge drawdowns of 100 pips, etc. Well, yes, you can make that such system work, but you necessarily need a huge account and very small lot sizing, and to know exactly how to manage lot position. That not only knowing, but having special knowledge on that. So don't go in that direction. If you go to some popular trading signal sites, you will see this behavior, but this is eventually at the end this wipes accounts. That's it. It's just a matter of time. It's like a pyramid scheme. It's just a matter of time that the system fails. This is the same thing. My way to understand this, and if somebody really makes a lot of money with that, with that style, without having or even having very big drawdowns, because one thing is this big drawdown. You see, this was almost 50% of my account, but this not was in a trade, one single trade, wanting to grab 10 pips and allowing a drawdown of 50% of my account, because you're not seeing average pip point gain in 10 pips. Okay, this necessarily needs to be 1-to-1 at least to make the 50% here works. What will make it work? The lot sizing. Depending on the position, the quality of the trade, maybe you will open 1 million in one position and you will open the full 5 million in the trading contest in another. So not all trades are created equal, not all circumstances are the same. And not going further, the Mexican peso, for example, trading Mexican peso before and after Donald Trump swearing in is that you need to assume an extra risk than maybe trading euros or trading gold. Okay. So well, just wanted to let you know that I was remembering that, and as I just said, my ethics compass won't allow me to talk specifics on somebody. I really don't know this case. This guy, he continues trolling, because something is really that it's really bothering me is that he wants to discuss the results. Okay. I have another equity curve in another site, and he's discussing those results, and those results are 600% in profit. I haven't taken any position there because it hasn't been, nobody's even asking about that curve. So this guy is really a troll. Then having this kind of results and you have somebody stubbornly questioning them, it's like no hope. I mean, you can question a lot of things. You can question people. You can question a system. If in any case that person is selling you something or wants your money in exchange of something, that is not my case. I'm not even interested in selling anything. This is only like building a name leveraged by, in this case, Dukascopy brokerage. That it's not an ordinary broker. It's a Swiss one. So you can find a lot of in the other Banana Republic locations, but it's not that easy to have a forex broker in Switzerland because of one reason. You need to have a bank license. So the capital controls and the regulations these entities are following are really tough. So you won't find that not even in the British brokers. At least this is my opinion. So well, you come here, you deliver webinars every day, you start building a name. I don't know how many, I believe more than 2 years delivering webinars. I don't remember, 1.5 years, I don't know. And when you finally decide to take seriously a trading contest, you have these results and you have people questioning them in the bad side, trying to discredit you. It's like, okay, what's the sense? They simply are trolls. So if these guys continue, maybe I will make him a favor to unmask him. I don't know, maybe not. The most likely things that I know. But well, these are the results. Well, just closing that topic is this guy. I believe that what he wants is to discredit the competition. Okay. Overall, now that Donald Trump got into power, and it's purely his style to discredit everyone around him, you're going to see an increased activity of this kind of behavior worldwide. This is one of the saddest things of having the most powerful person in the world now is him. So it's giving validity to some behaviors, and one of his behaviors is this one: discredit everybody. We're following the simple rule that if you're not for him, you're against him, and if you're not for him, you're against the United States by logic. So this primitive intelligence, it's going to be in a trend worldwide. I was like saying, this guy is really pretending. Come on, he left NAFTA, so he will have to trade with Mexico and Canada. But well, he hasn't left NAFTA already, so far. The most likely thing is that he wants to do so, but as I was explaining in the latest webinar, I don't believe that it's going to be that easy for him just to drop all the things and put the United States in flames. I left like, not this man. I left in place. Ah, he left NAFTA. Okay, so he will have to trade with Mexico and Canada. Well, yes, apparently that is the idea. I wouldn't rule out that this guy really makes stupid moves because he's as I was explaining yesterday, I believe that there's something behind that is operating in his decisions. I strongly believe that this guy is trying to compensate something with this, and I wouldn't rule out that the one that is going to be could be more benefited leaving NAFTA is him, his industries, his businesses, and that is why he wants to do so. I really don't know, but since he's not behaving institutional, I cannot trust somebody that doesn't behave that way, that could have selfish interest in the decisions he makes. So I really don't know, and I completely disagree with you. Well, that's good to know. This is not a approval competition. You and everybody has the chances to agree or disagree. The thing is that here as traders, we make a profit out of whatever opinion we have, good or wrong, and that's the bottom line of the traders. I don't disagree with Donald Trump, but of course he had generated me some trading opportunities, not in live accounts so far, but at least in the trading competition. So yeah, I'm not mixing my personal opinions, and I believe I talked about that yesterday or some other webinar, that it's very hard to put aside our beliefs on something or somebody when we trade, and that could sabotage a trade. For example, if I completely dislike for example, let's put it this way. After Ms. May, and I'm going to talk about that in some minutes, after Ms. May, the UK Prime Minister, anticipated all the doubts on Brexit, saying that it's a hard Brexit. Now we have the Supreme Court finally ruling if she's going to be good enough to pull out the Brexit or not, or if the ones that don't agree make it are necessary if she needs approval of another chamber, for example. I am a pro-Brexit supporter, and I believe that that's the best thing that could happen to the UK. In any case, it happens. But not because maybe, for example, the Supreme Court says that maybe Brexit won't happen, or at least it's going to be a soft one. That doesn't mean that I will just be blind by my bias and start selling pound. I need to verify with the price action or whatever my positions and to put my opinions aside. I mean, I could dislike somebody, but if I see a trading opportunity because maybe it's a positive thing, well, just trade against even my own opinions, just basing my decisions on objectiveness. For the ones that maybe if you're watching this webinar recorded and maybe you are not that familiar with my webinar styles, you've been here very aware that I strongly point out that before trading you need to have your personal opinion beforehand and then shape it. But this is very difficult. We need to train our minds not to be sticked to stick our worth as a person or our intelligence worth to stick it to one single opinion or a combo of opinions, because that is why when we have our ideas threatened, most likely is that we will have a overreaction, because we could feel that maybe somebody doesn't agree with us is threatening our intelligence basically. But being a trader is putting that aside, because and you get used to that, because when you are wrong 50% of the times, there is no other way to go. I mean, when you look at this 55% win-loss ratio, is I am barely righter and more right than what I am wrong. When you have this, actually this is one of the advantages of being a trader psychologically, because it pushes you to say I'm not perfect, and I don't really give a cent on being right every time. That is like what I don't care. And we this getting used to this psychologically will automatically put you in a good position in life, because you won't be maybe attacking people just because this person doesn't agree with you. And in the other side, in the trading side, is that you will be able to then say, okay, I was wrong, so what's next? You automatically are pushed to focus on the next, instead of going and on these people saying I am right, that I am wrong, and maybe I was wrong. So yeah, also putting opinions aside, it's an important thing. We're going to talk about that applied into reality with this British pound. If I'm not wrong, today we're going to have that ruling. Let me check out. Yes, apparently at 3:30 a.m. It's going to be discussed, and it's going to be said that if I follow the British pound behavior, I still believe that is. I just saw a news saying the complete opposite, saying that the pound behavior is pointing out a soft Brexit. That the Supreme Court will say, Miss May, you're wrong. You won't do that the hard way. Okay. So imagining that. How do I put it that into words? Give me a second. Well, I don't know how to put it in words. I will just pull the chart and explain it, okay? So, well, this is ending with this equity curve. And well, why I decided to maybe not trade at all the next days, I will check out pound price action to see if I find something interesting before the ruling. And in any case that I find something, maybe I could open it. But the thing is that I don't want to risk this. And I'm going to show you why, because I haven't taken a picture of it. Okay. Let me launch this screen sharing thing. That's not open. I don't know why. Well, I cannot launch it because I just closed it and I had to reload everything. So give me a second. One, two, three. Am I back? Baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. Dun dun. Okay, thanks, Katerina. I see a new one. Sword new. I could swear that the first thing that I saw when I saw your name was Snowden. So, but well, Sword new. Welcome. Let me quickly take a picture of this. This is important because it's very nice when somebody is telling you every time how good a trader he or she is, etc. But it's tougher to see somebody showing the bad sides. And this is the reason why I am way more interested in performing correctly in the trading contest, in the Grand Prix contest. Okay. This is the monthly performance. And this is the 6 month performance. No, this is the yearly, sorry. This is the 6 month. Okay, basically, since this is the first time I'm really taking this seriously, At times I just participate and I just let the accounts to draw down. Okay. As you can see here, the 6 months already in profit in an average profitability of 45. But well, here it doesn't show up, but it says here that in the 6 months I have a drawdown of 63.97%. So at least in the next 6 months I won't appear in the Grand Prix because you need to be below the 70 something percent. But this is what I was talking about. Maybe I would be much more interested in just keep now the account where it is, trying to anticipate a 6 month, 12 month, or even 18 month competition ahead, instead of just trying to push the account down. The average profitability here in the latest 6 months is good, it's 45%, but the drawdown is more than 63%, so I am automatically disqualified for being in the 6th month Grand Prix. But that doesn't mean, you need to manage your account. This is why I've been saying in other webinars, you need to have a longer term plan always. And one of the good things of this kind of competition is that put your head, put your eyes, it pushes you to put your head 6 months, 12 months, or in this case, maybe even 18 months ahead. Measuring profitability in 6, 12, 18 months, not in 1 month. You can do perfect in 1 month, but the next one you could lose it all. So this pushes you, and this has to do with money management. When you're really planning, maybe if you're starting your trading career and you have a $10,000 account, it's way much better to divide that 10,000 account in maybe 1 year, saying, okay, in any case, I spoil it all and I blew up my account. Maybe I would like to make it last 1 year or year and a half, etc. So this pushes you to have a longer view. So when you make a habit of that in your head, it's way more difficult that you will feel pushed just because you had some bad days or even bad weeks to feel pushed to have the need of compensating that immediately, because it's a 6 month, 12 month, 18 month competition. Now I know that my trading, at least in the competitions that I care that are the longer ones, I'm not saying, maybe if I believe that if I hold above the 30 place competition, in this competition I will earn some price, but the real ones that I want to be there constantly is the 6 month and 12 months. So I know that even having this good result is not good enough, So yeah, this approach gives you perspective, trading contest or not. So I strongly suggest you that. This is the yearly, the 1 year. You can see it's completely different. Here, I don't know why it doesn't show the latest, because this latest put the account more or less here, if I'm not wrong. The idea is that, look, in average I have -8%, and here my drawdown is value 75.34. Yes, for some reason this is not loading correctly. Let me have another picture of that. So okay, here it is. Now you see it. Okay, this is how it's looking now. So I am pretty much break even, but here I have 73%. So at least in the next maybe 6 months, I won't be showing not even in the contest, in the winners of that contest. So yeah, maybe I'm not going to solve this kind of problems this month, no matter. I need to double this to put maybe this a break even, but not double this, but maybe an extra income. But anyways, I have to wait more months to be in the 12-month competition. So yeah, maybe it's just to chill out and wait for better opportunities, because if I find something now in the pound, the most likely thing is that's going to be a very volatile one. So we need to check always, and in the measure that we see the things in a longer term time window, everything changes, because maybe you could say I settle with this kind of profit, or I settle with this kind of loss this month, and I will just chill out some days, keep up with the market, and I will start again fresh next month, and that's it. Okay. So quickly, this is the winning charts, the number 1, number 2, 3, I'm in 20th. As you can see, the numbers are equal. The number of blog posts are still 1. I have posted like 10 or something like that, but still 1. As you can see, we have plenty of traders. And another thing, if you're going to participate in trading contests, you're not expected to post in the blog. And this is something that took me months to realize. I thought, okay, the markets are open from Monday to Friday, so Saturday and Sunday you cannot post anything. No, actually, if you can receive like support from community support, I believe, even on posts of Saturday and Sunday. So here, actually, you can have the same amount of days that are in the month, 31, 28, 30, 31. So in any case that you participate, this gives you extra points. So don't disregard that, because if you see, for example, here, let's put my example, number 1 blog post. I'm 198. Let's say that if for some reason I have 4 more likes, that would mean to be in 16th, 15th place so far. Okay, so yeah, this could make a difference overall when the competition is tight. And trust me, in this competition, everything is tight. Usually the number 1 and the number 1 usually outperforms all the rest in a big matter. So yeah, but usually from the second or third to the lower, every single detail changes. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that. That took me months to realize. So well, there it is. And let's go directly to the charts. This is the Mexican chart for our and this is the British pound for our Now let's go directly to explaining the potentials of this. Well, as you remember, I like a lot to use now, since Donald Trump is getting into power, the Mexican peso as a reference of the free trade things. I mean, Donald Trump just signed an executive order to retire the United States from the Trans-Pacific Agreement, but it's way easier to move yourself off something when that hasn't started, that when you're already there, like the NAFTA agreement. And as I explained yesterday, the trades open on Friday that I closed yesterday were the reflect of a Republican important figure. I believe it was in the Senate. It's part of the Congress. I don't remember exactly where. That apparently could be the signal that Donald Trump was going to face opposition from the very inside of the Republican Party. So that is why I believe that going against all the odds, the Mexican peso gained terrain. And you can see it's now defying below the double top configuration. So if you watch this is the 4-hour chart. If you watch this is very interesting, because the market took profit maybe here. Look, we're almost to the pip. It touched the lower Bollinger Band and retraced now, and now it retested this, and now it's heading lower. The problem now is that if we don't have a decisive breakout to the downside, this could be this pattern that I like a lot in the Bollinger Bands. That is making lower lows inside the band instead of outside. So maybe in this case the market didn't break to the downside, but it could work that way. If you make lower lows, those will be inside the band. So the chances of having here a movement, at least to retest to the upside, are higher than if maybe we have another Bollinger Bands configuration. I've seen. I just came across some information about this protest yesterday by women worldwide, and they were this kind of a pseudo conspiracy theory, but it has elements of reality. That the one behind this is George Soros, and he is especially interested in removing apparently Donald Trump because it's going to affect its interest. There is this again conspiracy theory that says that Soros is actually the wealthiest man in the world because he's part of the Illuminati and that sort of thing. Well, that is the one behind financing all this movement to discredit him. Well, I really don't know if that's right, if that's correct. But the same way Donald Trump made movements to discredit some others, and among them journalists, because he just didn't like. For him, the only reality is the one that he sees. He's not into considering that maybe he's not right in something. He just needs to be right in everything. So basically, if you disagree with him, you're against him. That doesn't mean that he is human and it's not flawless, but that means that you're the enemy. So well, I really don't know if all these things are real or not. That the one trying to sabotage the thing is that there are, even though maybe we could have some politicians or rich people financing this kind of thing, that doesn't mean that those are at the end unlegit reasons. I mean, for a lot of women, that you don't need to pay them to do that. We're already manifesting against Donald Trump because he's a macho person, or at least that's his behavior. And trying to relativize a real belief of some people just because maybe in some part that movement is paid, that doesn't make a legit movement. Why I'm commenting this? Of course, this is the discredit that, let's assume that you will have a lot of interest in the United States. I'm not saying this guy, but any other kind of guy that will be affected by this switch in policy that he wants to impose. So the same way Donald Trump was combative and was resisting and fighted back and won, I think it's naive that he believes that he's the only one that could continue fighting back, right? So this is going to be a real disencouraging situation to see how the very inside of the United States, not maybe the very inside of the Republican Party, but inside the very social environment in the United States, there will be a continuous fight back. So it's going to be an expenditure of huge energy resources to fight this guy back. Whether it's legit, whether it's paid, or whether it's both, you have more than 50% of the population that voted against this guy. So that counts. That is what I was saying yesterday, that in any case he really wanted to apply all his ideas to this new United States that he wants. He needs desperately the support of all those people because he knows that the politic machine is isolating him already. So that is why maybe it makes sense to believe that, okay, if he's betting to regain even support from the detractors that didn't vote for him, let's remember these people every time, using riots, etc. All the things he said against, for example, gays, lesbians, Mexicans, and whatever. So yeah, and maybe this is going to be typical, but let's just focus on how the market reacts, even though if Soros is behind or some other less weighted millionaire, whatever, there are real people really rejecting this guy, and they don't need to be paid to manifestate that. So the only way to go is to go to the markets and try to use them as thermometers. As far as I am concerned, the reaction on the peso is clear so far because it was simply unexplainable on the movements of the peso gaining after confirming as a president this kind of a speech against building a wall and even maybe moving away from the NAFTA agreement as fast as possible. Of course, disadjusting the way that commerce is made in North America and all the block of North America. And having the peso gaining, well, the only explanation for me is that it's in a stalemate and he won't be allowed to do what he wants. Think that maybe the supreme rule could pursue in the UK, but there's a difference. While in the United States, I believe that even some people that voted for Donald Trump is rethinking his vote or her vote, maybe saying maybe this actually is not the best option. In the UK, I believe that pretty much the same people that voted for and against Brexit are pretty much the same. So, how to say it? You have still popular support for leaving the EU. So let's see how overall the language the Supreme Court uses, because he cannot rule anything pro or against the Brexit, using a language ignoring that maybe yes, maybe even slightly more than the half of the voters still support Brexit. When you have the phenomena of Donald Trump that maybe even voters that voted for him are maybe regretting doing so already, you cannot speak like Donald Trump did because you need popular support. Okay, so now it's as unpopular as it is popular, the Brexit thing in the UK. But well, let's just finish with this Mexican peso thing. Now what it catch my eye is of course this. It made this huge movement. It retraced and retested this, and now the market is hovering here. I still see some room to go to downside because of obvious reasons in the 4-hour here. To downside maybe to the 120, 120. In any case, this continues moving up. Donald Trump is going to meet the Mexican president in 1 week, exactly 1 week, January 31st. I really don't know his approach, but I can bet you that's going to picture a very aggressive New Deal to make maybe the Mexican president to fall into a mistake and to accept immediately the new conditions. I really see that if the Mexican and the Canadian leaders tell him that this needs to take its time and to be discussed throughout time, I wouldn't rule out that he will try to push an emergency exit from the NAFTA. And that is going to be very hard to happen, because if I don't know if when the agreement in the United States is already moving, it's that easy that only because he wants he removes the country, because as far as I know, at least the Congress needs to at some point authorize it or something like that. So yeah, this could have this latest bullish peso thing could be sustained up to at least 1 week, could be. But it depends on the result of that meeting. Let's say that Donald Trump goes out Mexico all mad because he didn't get what he wanted, and maybe he's not willing to negotiate, to do a serious negotiation. Serious negotiations take time, a lot of time. If not, if you don't believe me, ask how long the negotiations took to build the European Union, for example. It was something that was built throughout the years. So there are things that necessarily take time. This kind of supranational things, like, not supranational, these trading agreements take a lot to dismantle it or to even change some part of them. So what I believe that since he wants to regain, and he's desperate of popular support to counter-arrest that maybe he's already isolated by the Congress, he will start increasing the bets on the speech, on the aggressiveness, because at some point the more primitive and less intelligent people tend to like way more somebody that appears secure of himself, because they confuse to feel that somebody is secure of himself because he's aggressive. Okay, but he's desperate on gaining those popular support no matter what. In any case, you consider continue opening bullish trades on peso. That means shorting USD and Mexican peso. at Tuesday next week, we need to close them because we don't know if Donald Trump before getting into the plane, he says something that we didn't get a negotiation, so I will definitely go out of NAFTA. There is simply no scenario, not quick New Deal that Donald Trump could offer to Mexico or to Canada that could be accepted blindly in just one meeting. It's impossible. It's impossible because that could mean that there was no negotiation. Once that could indicate that was only an imposition, that you are telling the other, these are my conditions, accept it or not. If you don't, bye. I'm not interested in negotiation anything. So I believe that's going to be the approach by Donald Trump, and I believe that maybe the next month, from February 1st day, we will have this in the major news. He wanting to remove America from NAFTA and maybe facing that Congress won't allow it. So we maybe have 1 week of calm in the markets. Let's see. And in that case, that happens, well, yes, maybe even having Donald Trump saying we were going to withdraw from NAFTA, that could have a positive effect in Mexican peso. It could be if the markets are convinced, and we have some days to verify that the Congress is simply going to block this. In that case, that happens, no matter what he says, because I was saying yesterday, the markets, at the very moment this guy was giving in his speech, just ignored him. This sends a strong message on what the market thinks of this clown, that they're not just willing to listen to him anymore. They're more interested in looking how the Congress and how the congressmen are considering all these ideas, way more than Donald Trump saying them. So in that case, maybe that he goes to say we're going to leave NAFTA, and in the media and overall in the market, there's a conviction that the congressmen will not support that. That could even have a quick bearish movement on peso, but again, a second healthy wave of bullishness in the peso. So we need to be very watching this very closely. Hey, David, how are you doing? Welcome. We're talking about the number one fan, the number one guy in the world. So here is the pound. Here is the Miss May dissipating doubts. We had a pullback, and well, this is the trade that I opened it more or less here, and I closed it here. After having this congressman saying that, or letting all the people, the world, that all the decisions taken will have to move between some limits of reality, and the markets read that bullishly. So now we just want to check this out. It made support to 23. It just took the 24 area with no problem. It just took the 25. And now is retracing. We are testing this kind of resistance, if you may. But now the markets are waiting. Let me take again, this thing just closed, this screen sharing stuff. So I don't want to reload the television. So maybe I just will about it. If you go to the smaller time frames, the 1 hour, for example, you can see that volumes are not as high as I would have expected, maybe because of this ruling. It's going to be difficult, and don't be surprised in any case that for example, what I believe is that the pound actually is not reacting. For example, having Donald Trump saying that he's going to commit all the things he wanted has a positive effect on peso, meaning that the markets are considering that maybe it's going to be very tough for him to apply what he wants. On the other hand, having Ms. May saying that things are going to be the way she understands people to happen had the opposite effect, had the bullishness in the pound. At this moment in time, this could make no sense because, well, maybe they could have read the same thing. This woman is just very sure of having a hard Brexit, but they are very sure that the Supreme Court will simply rule that out, and then that is why maybe the British pound was soaring. That would mean one of the clearest examples that no matter, for example, you don't need to be right in your analysis all the time to grab a profit. And not necessarily because you're right, that means that you will have a profit. Okay? We need to see, as far as I am informed, at least there has not been this outspoken thing by the very institutions of the UK against Brexit. They are like 50-50. So that is why I don't believe that the soaring of the pound is due, that they believe that maybe they foresee the Supreme Court blocking this and then considering a bullish opportunity on the pound. I understand it completely opposite. I believe that the pound will leave the EU completely, and this bullishness is natural because it's oversold first, and because, well, it's getting closer to the Swiss model. Switzerland is doing good, and it's not part of the EU the way the rest of the EU is. So it's not like an experimental thing. It's just like mimicking what Switzerland didn't stop doing at all. The problem with Donald Trump is that what he wants is something experimental that only works in his mind, and there are a lot of questionings about his logic. So, yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any kind of insight through the price action now in the pound. That maybe the bullishness was because they were anticipating the Supreme Court ruling out hard Brexit, going against, and then putting now in stalemate the administration of Ms. May, because again, we have a popular support still there. At least it's 50-50. But in Donald Trump, overall, after he insists that the media is hypocrite, that it was not fair, pointing out that the visitors to his inauguration day were very low. He complains about that, but that signals something. That at the end, and we need to remember this, at the end, a lot of votes end up going to Donald Trump because of the latest thing on Hillary Clinton, on emails and all that by the FBI, etc. That played an important role for making this latest movement. We need to remember something. We are programmed as a species. Oh, reading up something. Hey, Triple A, how are you doing? Good morning, welcome. And thank you, Katerina, for letting me know that I can bore you all one more hour. Now I will just be closing in some minutes because I need to prepare for the Supreme Court ruling in any case something interesting arises. By the way, if I trade something, the pound is not going to be before the Supreme Court. It's going to be after. And only if the Supreme Court allows Ms. May to continue with hard Brexit. Because all my scenarios now in my head are just foreseeing a hard Brexit, not a soft one. Because I believe the soft one could weigh negatively on the pound because we will have to extend more years the latest, because it's way more difficult to find a midpoint between what is now and what a mild Brexit is than a hard Brexit. A hard Brexit is easier because it's not need to consider other parts to negotiate. It's quicker. It's what Donald Trump wants to do. He doesn't want to negotiate because he knows that when he negotiates something, he needs to give something in exchange. And since he believes that the enemies of the United States are China and Mexico, and the ultimate goal for him is not allowing them to continue growing, because he believes that is in expenses of the United States, I believe that there is not in his best interest to negotiate anything in the NAFTA agreement. So, again, only if the Supreme Court rules the hard Brexit to continue, I am willing to find a long pound trading opportunity. In any case, that doesn't happen, I would just sit on my hands and wait to see what's next. Okay, so here it says, I am good, I hope you're doing well too. Well, yes, I am doing well. I am kind of tired already. But yeah, it's a good thing. It's a Tuesday, but this weekend it's been a little bit tough because I had to keep up with the news, with what Donald Trump said or didn't say. So it's been kind of stressful since here in Mexico, we all Mexicans are very stressed because of how this new administration could hit bad on Mexico or not. But well, here we are delivering my lovely webinar that I love too much. So here it says, we have another comment. Katerina smiles. RazorX says he can give them Trump steaks and coupon to stay at one of his resorts. I believe that this guy actually doesn't have a lot of resorts in Mexico. I believe the only one is in Cancun. And I wouldn't stay there. I mean, yeah, capitalism is so complex. Because if one thinks about it, going to maybe New York's Trump Tower, well, now it's impossible to go because of natural reasons, but getting there maybe and stay there for some days as hotel. Yeah, you are supporting economically him, but yeah, it's not only him, it's all the people that were there. So it's so complex, the capitalism, that once, for example, if I decide to never go to a Trump place, yeah, I could believe that I am making a very tiny difference. But at the end, the least powerful are going to be the one most endangered by sabotaging this kind of stuff. But it's complicated. But well, Donald Trump is going to be the most mentioned word in my webinars, and I don't like that. I have to use another name like Mr. Clown or something. I don't want that word to be around my webinars that much. I will call him DT. Very creative me. Well, so coming back again to the pound. The bottom line here is that as far as I am informed, in the UK, I am not sure if this is right. If somebody here lives in the UK and could confirm or not this, I am informed that the Brexit supporters actually have grown a little in the UK. People that didn't vote are now, even if they didn't vote, kind of supporting some sort of hard Brexit. The ones that are against, well, it's very hard for them to change their minds because they are convinced, of course. But these people that didn't vote, now the time has passed a little bit, are apparently supporting a Brexit thing. So that cannot be ignored by the Supreme Court. And yeah, I believe that there are chances for the Supreme Court just to say, okay, let's go with this, because actually it has popular support. And if we go against that, it would have been like going against recognizing Donald Trump winning. If they could recognize, they should recognize Donald Trump winning, even not having the absolute vote, but they had to do so because the margin was small. But now the margin has increased in the latest days. So, but well, that is like how the real things in politics are done. The power of the people is in fact in the people, but they need to be organized and pushing institutions, maybe protesting in the streets peacefully, whatever. That's the problem, that usually the societies are not that well organized. But once they are, it's very hard for people, for the institutions to ignore it, because they know that the power is in the people, but they don't want to let people know that openly, because then the psychological trick they use to make believe people that the powerful are them and not the people would vanish. Bottom line, even, for example, in Venezuela, you have like 50-50 supporting Nicolás Maduro. And it has, even in Venezuela, The government has had no other chance to, even if he didn't want to accept some kind of movement. Because if you ignore people, at the end, that could cost you everything. Because the people organized could put in checkmate the government. That's it, period. You know how? Well, you can take some radical approaches. If for one day people could be able to organize themselves, it's utopic, but let's think of it. And one day, not work at all, you destroy the economy of a country. One day, nobody working, nobody opening businesses, nobody nothing, that would push the president in turn to quit. That's it. That's only what it takes. That is why the governments are very eager to censor social media in one way or another, because at the moment the society realizes this, at some moment it could even be justified to close everything one day just to get rid of here in Mexico, the discontent on this president is huge, but this society is not as mature as others, and we are barely discovering this part of the real power of people. But well, we're fighting against decades of corruption, so this is not that easy, but somewhere to start. In places like the United States and places like the UK, having people really organizing themselves into such things could really have a good effect. Okay, so here it says, AAA rated, instead of calling Trump, call him POTUS. Yeah, overall, because in the Spanish that sounds like an insult. Yeah, maybe I could use that. Well, an insult that here is used as an insult, not because it is an insult. Here it says, okay, here it says, Katerina, otherwise I will forbid you to talk about politics. Instead of calling Trump, call him. I didn't get this, otherwise I will forbid you to talk about politics. I don't get what you mean, Katerina. I think the meeting with May on Friday will make GBP higher in value. I do believe that. I do believe that the pound, as long as they sustain their Brexit approach, is good for the pound. If they decide to continue with soft Brexit ideas, that will hit negatively, not necessarily because it will be the end of the UK, of course not, but because it's completely unforeseeable the final shape of this. Because if not even inside the EU leaders can come up with an agreement that actually it's an agreement agreed by everybody and not pushed by Angela Merkel, imagine having negotiations between that institution and the UK. I see it very unlikely to have something positive on a soft Brexit era. It would take years. It would take like 5 years only to reach an agreement. Okay? So that would eventually be considered negative for the pound. Not for the pound itself, but for the uncertainty it gives. The same way after Prime Minister May at least explaining a hard Brexit had a very good effect on the markets, because at least something is for sure. There were even people believing that the Prime Minister would be pushed to quit because she didn't represent a real Brexit valid idea. So that is something that the markets punish a lot. Here it says, is Wilco Van Boxtel a hedge fund manager? I don't know. This webinar is next. I was looking at the info. Well, I don't know if he is a hedge fund manager. As far as I know, he wasn't, but maybe he is now. I don't know. So, well, I believe it's time to call it for a webinar. As you can see, we have again a lot of uncomfortable uncertainty in the pound. Bottom line, you need to consider if you're going to open bullish trades on peso and shorting dollar. Maybe there are still some days to do that. You just need to know the good entry prices, etc. But considering a positive effect on peso after the January 31st, maybe it's not a good idea. We need to see how this goes. It is, by the way, just before closing. There was an initiative by what's the name of this guy in Canada, the Prime Minister of Canada, or the President of Canada, saying that moving forward, and this is important, this is interesting, saying that Canada will like to promote some kind of trans-Pacific thing, even without the United States, but still happening. That was an abandoned idea by Japan, saying that he was only interested in that if the United States was in. But this is again a message. The message is that in any case, the NAFTA, and I think this is a signal to Donald Trump, if in any case you really withdraw from the NAFTA, we will have to find a very quick, somebody's zooming in my chart. Yeah, it's, how is his name? Trudeau? Something like that. This guy. So, well, the thing is that I believe that Canada is not Mexico, it's Canada saying, we're going to isolate you, and you will end up being isolated. So think twice. This is a message more for the Congress than to Donald Trump. So I see very difficult United States actually withdrawing from NAFTA. Because at the end, even if that will hurt Canada and way more Mexico to quit a NAFTA agreement, there are chances to move merchandises. And now it's giving even more power to China, something that Donald Trump doesn't want. So he is in a dilemma. If he really moves forward, quitting NAFTA, he will be eventually increasing the power of China, the power of influence, the power of capital. The United States doesn't want to be surrounded by Chinese capital interests. He doesn't want that. But that's what the United States will get if they withdraw from NAFTA. So that is why I believe that this guy is in a stalemate. He cannot do anything, what he promised, without hurting badly other areas of the American economy. So let's see how it happens. And just to close and to make a conclusion with this Canadian thing, I believe that this came on time precisely after seeing that the Congress might not be blindly approving everything by Donald Trump, even if it's Republican majority. I believe that the reading that the markets had after this event of the congressman talking before Donald Trump swearing in has a clear effect on the market signaling this, and I believe that one of the first governments understanding this in this direction correctly is a Canadian one. That is why it's moving forward, making a step forward and promoting an alternative scenario, something that didn't happen before. This is because we are seeing that actually Donald Trump is weakening already. So it's going to be interesting. I will be checking the chart. In any case that I find some interesting stuff to trade, I will let you know in my YouTube channel, in any case that you're interested. Here is where you can subscribe. You simply go to YouTube, type iiivb Trading Room channel, see it states here, this will show up on picture, you click subscribe. Anything interesting, I will let you know there. We need to understand that the volatility is going to be high in any case that the Supreme Court counter says what the Prime Minister said. That would create a lot of mess initially. So let's just focus on that. In any case, that the Supreme Court rules in favor of the Prime Minister sayings some days before, I could expect an initial retracement in cable, not sure exactly where, and then continue moving up. So I would like to thank everybody for showing up, for staying here. AAA rate, thanks for coming in. Racer X David for being around, and Katrina for hosting as always. Thanks. All the guests, thanks for being around, even if you are quiet. I appreciate your presence here. Hopefully this helps you to make your own conclusions on the markets. Nothing to be thankful for, Katerina. Thanks, TraderX, and thanks, AAA, for saying this was a good webinar. So remember that if you want to trade this thing, you need to be careful. Overall, because liquidity could wipe out for seconds. Don't be surprised to have huge gaps in the spread in the cable, and even having a massive sell-off to the 1.2 area. So in any case, if you are long on this, you have to consider all this to make your risk calculations. AAA rated says I am not trading that GBP USD pair. That's the wisest thing to do, mate. Just wait. Analyze what the Supreme Court said, and then figure out a trade maybe next week or something. We will be following that closely. Thank you very much, everybody. I would like to wish you a good day. Remember to trade safe, be safe. Thank you, everybody. This is Alberto Alvarado, and bye-bye.